Hello, welcome back to the Data Privacy Lawyer. It's Funmi, the principal attorney at the firm. Today's review, we're going to be looking at a cookie notice. So this is coming from a car company. I try to look at industries when I do these reviews. We're looking at a car organization. This is the URL here is from the United Kingdom, and they have called this document on their website the cookie policy. Now, the first thing is I have not been presented with a cookie banner at all. However, there is a section here for me to control my cookie settings. Now, we're going to go through this, but according to this website, they have strictly necessary cookies, functional, performance, and targeting. So there should be a section above that indicates that all 4 of these cookies exist and are being collected as I interact with the site. Now, they've all been turned off. I'm going to save the settings because they've been turned off. This is very important for businesses to take note of. Every geography has its own requirements as it pertains to collecting cookies. Some geographies require that a business allows consumers to opt in to any cookies being used, except for those that are strictly necessary. Some geographies allow organizations to opt consumers in, but give them the opportunity to opt out. Now, I'm accessing this site from the United States. From my understanding, my rights in the United States are that companies can opt me in automatically, and then I can choose to opt out. But we can see here that the approach is very Euro-Centric in that everyone has the opportunity to opt in, and it's below here. The one thing I will say that's interesting, and maybe the reason why a cookie banner wasn't displayed, is because no cookies are being collected as I interact with the site except those that are strictly necessary. And because I was able to scroll down and control my settings, that may be why we weren't presented with a cookie banner. I still think it's useful for businesses to present the cookie banner, even if the settings exist here, because if I did not know the specific URL, then would I not still have been presented with a cookie banner? Let's say that my first interaction with the site was vehicles in stock. Does that mean that I wouldn't have been given the opportunity to know that cookies are being collected? So essentially, we always need to have that cookie banner, irrespective of the page that we're landing on. But the other thing I noticed here is that there's no date this was last updated. So is this an accurate reflection of RAM UK in 2025? That's another question that would need to be posed for this organization. The other thing I think that's unique is we don't know the entity that's responsible for this cookie notice. What if I, as a consumer, want to reach out to your company and find out how cookies are being used on me, how you're processing my personal data? We don't have those details here. So those are all things that need to be updated. Consumers shouldn't find it difficult to interact with an organization when it comes to their personal data. That should be something that's simple. In addition to that, if the way in which cookies are being utilized on the site has changed, we need to have a date that this policy or notice was last updated. Now, I keep using the word notice because essentially what RAM UK is trying to do here is they're trying to educate us on how they use cookies. There's no guidance for us because our cookies are going to be processed and this is how they do it. So I'm always going to refer to these as a notice. If I am able to identify that they're true policies, I'm going to start making that very apparent in my reviews. So we have no date, and then we also don't know the name of the legal entity. We don't know how to contact RAM if we want to understand, how they process our personal data, of which cookies are personal data. So those are some, few observations in a short YouTube video that I can see right off of the bat. I would be interested to see if they're using other tracking technologies because we don't have insight into that. There is information on how to control and delete cookies, which is good. And we also have this cookie settings section here. My question is, does this appear on every single web page? Let's go to home and see if it does. We're going to go back to the cookie notice shortly, but okay. So you can see I just scrolled to the bottom of this web page. We don't have that cookie settings section. So how do consumers that land on this page know that the cookie settings page even is applicable for them? We do not use cookies to collect personal information about you. Wow, I'm speechless. Now, this is why it's so important to have privacy education and to liaise with privacy counsel. You don't want to be making factual representations of your organization that are untrue. A cookie is definitely personal data. A cookie can identify you. And we can see here that there's third-party cookies that are embedded and sometimes embedded in photos, videos, and social sharing icons. I don't think in all of my reviews I've ever been so speechless. It's really important before you place anything on your website that you get counsel about what you're representing for your organization. I don't want to dwell too much on this, but I've never seen this type of statement on any of the reviews I've done. However, if you wish to restrict or block the cookies which are set by our websites, I think another thing that would be really useful is to add some information at the top into which websites apply, because that'll influence the type of cookies. Do all of these cookies apply on every single website? That would be valuable information. Or indeed on any other website. How do they know this? How do they know this? How do they know that this is how you can do this for every other website? You can do this through your browser settings. The help function within your browser should tell you how. Alternatively, you may wish to visit ico.org.uk, which contains comprehensive information on how to do this on a wide variety of browsers. Okay. You will also find details on how to delete cookies from your computer, as well as more general information about your cookies. I think that if this website had been visited by this organization, this notice may look very different. Okay, list of the main cookies. Here is a list of some cookies that may be set by us while using our website. These allow us to recognize your requests from page to page. This allows us to remember your previous selections and choices, navigate back. So essentially, right, this sentence here and this sentence here are in conflict with one another. Because if the business RAM is able to remember person's selections and choices and navigate back to previous pages, it's likely that they're able to identify that individual. Let's say, for example, I visited this site and my father visited this site. They're able to recognize what his selections are and what my selections are. So essentially, they're able to identify me. It's really important that you're looking very closely at what you're writing on your site. Now, I have the insight knowledge because I'm a data privacy lawyer. Most consumers are not going to read this, but a regulator is definitely going to read this. And if you are making these types of representations, you put yourself in a position where you could get into a situation where an enforcement action is conducted against your business. I'm particularly surprised about the review for this video because this is an organization in the United Kingdom. And the data protection laws in the United Kingdom are far more severe than those in the United States. And there is definitely a energy in the European Union and in the United Kingdom that personal data is taken far more seriously. So I really hope you enjoyed this particular review. The purpose of my reviews is to educate businesses on what they need to do to maintain compliance with the data protection laws. That's really my main aim. If you enjoyed this review, subscribe to this channel for more reviews on AI notices, privacy notices, cookie notices, policies, and everything to do with data protection.